Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to share this with you today. Today, I'm going to be speaking to Shae Ross. She's a transpersonal psychologist. She has dedicated most of her life to the pursuit of healing and transformation. Shae had a private distant healing session, which was very profound and transformative. Let me welcome Shae and listen to her amazing healing story. Hi, Shae. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you, Debra. It's wonderful to be here. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity to talk about this.
Oh, no, I think it's really important for others to see and hear, and especially coming from someone like you that understands the healing process. And I get chills even talking about it. And I feel overwhelmed. I know that this was guided. And I'm
Yes.
just so honored for you to share what transpired for you, and whether you want to talk about prior to the session, because I thought that was really important, because the one thing I heard is you were very, very sensitive to energy.
Yes, definitely.
And I had said in my prayers before, she's sensitive to energy, so let's not let her feel. And I thought, like, wait a minute, I'm not feeling this. Isn't that normal for me? Because that's what you did. But
I
I
know,
didn't
right?
want to cause any more to you. I just wanted to be real. So if you can kind of talk about the before, the during, the after, and just give us a taste of what happened with you.
Absolutely. And it's funny talking. I love that you started it off talking about sensitive to energy, just because as we got on together, I started to feel these chills running through my body, like the heightened sense of energy, which
Me too.
yes, you too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I notice that often when two, and I think Jesus said something to this effect, when two or more are gathered in my name, something, I can't remember the whole thing, but it's like that exponential, that connection creates an exponential level of heightened energy, or however you want to call it. And I felt that when I got on with you in this interview.
Yeah, it just raises that energy in the room and the frequency and the vibration. And so I think what's happening is you're feeling it, I'm feeling it, but it's a validation that spirit's with us, guiding us, speaking through us for this session here and now. And I get chills even now, even saying that.
Exactly. It just keeps going. And I love the word validation because that feels right on to me as well. Um, and having said that, my goodness, let me talk about validation in terms of the healing. Yeah, so how do I begin this? There's so much I could say, really. Yes, I have spent decades, literally decades, with the focus of healing, evolution being my paramount focus, really. And first it was personal, and then it became professional. So it's been really interesting to me to how do I say this, with that as a backdrop, not only personally what happened in the healing for me, but professionally and more sort of objectively, the being able to compare what I've known, what I haven't, what's new. And so I definitely want to touch on that a little bit later, but I think I'll start with just sort of chronologically how it happened with the healing.
Beautiful.
Okay, so when the healing itself occurred, I was lying in my bed. I kind of prepped my space, just a quiet kind of space to be in. And it was pretty relaxed. I felt really comfortable, but just fairly relaxed. I noticed my breathing changed a few times in an interesting way. It sort of just like almost slowed down, downshifted, became more focused. So I did notice that, but it's funny you mentioned when you got on, because normally I am super sensitive. So I thought, okay, it'll be interesting to see what I feel. But then later I found out that you knew that, and you kind of protected me, or, thought about that. So I do appreciate that too.
You're welcome. And for the viewers that don't know how private session works, you're in your sacred space, I'm in mine. We're not on the phone, we're not on Zoom. And so I knew, because you had said I'm very sensitive to energies, whether it's going outside, whether it's helping people, and so I was like, okay, I want to heal what needs to be healed. I don't need her to take on all these other energies beforehand, so that her body's completely opened. And I think with you relaxing, they give you a medicine, right? A sedation, and it just kind of like takes that edge off.
Yes. Yeah, that's well described. It's so, I love these nuances and intricacies as we're talking about it. It's bringing out even more clarity and light to what happened.
Mhm.
That's just perfect the way those two, that all unfolded with that. So yes, so I was relaxed, I was very comfortable, and I just received basically. And then within the hour, you sent me the MP4, and I was so excited to listen to it. And when I began to listen to it, things changed dramatically, but positively dramatically in terms of what I was feeling, what I was experiencing, what I was receiving from the healing. And I just want to note too, in terms of quantum physics and time-space reality, that this was such a great further lesson for me in terms of how time and space don't matter in terms of healing.
Mhm.
That
Exactly right, because there's a lot of people that live in different time zones, whether they're sleeping, and it just travels. There is no time on the other side.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that was so evident because when I started listening to the recording, my goodness, I guess probably 80% of the time, I just had tears streaming down my face. It was, speaking of being sensitive to energy, the minute I start to tap back into this, I can really feel it. And so I'll do my best to keep talking. Um, it's it was, but these were tears of gratitude, of reverence, of release, of just, it's even hard to put words to a lot of this, as I'm sure you know. We don't have the vocabulary that really we need to describe all that happens with this level of experience. So I'll do my best with that as well. It was just beautiful. And I was just open, like you said, I was open to receiving. And so I was taking it in and letting it just cycle as it needed to. So it was very emotional in terms of the tears and the release happening. And another thing I found really interesting was that I was so tuned in and so connected to you and the healing and the energies and God and the surgeons and everybody that was available in that experience, that I just started to, like, several times I would get something in terms of a word, and then a moment or two later, you would say the exact same word.
It just shows how in sync we are. And that's why it's so more profound that it is distant, right? That you're not in the same room. I'm not picking up energies. And that feeling of emotions, emotions are real. So we can't deny that. When you just felt that even now, you went back to that same feeling, that same energy, that same frequency, and you don't forget it. And it just ignites. And that's what we call undeniable energy and love and healing from God.
Beautiful. Yes, exactly. I love how you brought that back to that point.
Mhm.
It is. And that's such a fascinating and beautiful phenomena how that happens. So
Yeah, yeah. And I did like hearing your testimonial, because at one point we took a spiritual journey and I saw you wearing a white dress. And that's what you said. I saw myself, and then you described myself. And that's the beauty of it, is we were so in sync and we were so in one. And so for you, that had to be so validating for what you were visioning and what I'm giving the vision, but then I'm speaking it, and then you're seeing it before I actually speak it. Wow.
yes, exactly. Yes, that was phenomenal because it was when part where God and myself were walking up the stairways, stairway, and then I saw myself instantly in this beautiful white gown, and then just moments later you said, and you're walking up in this white gown. It was just, I love it. I just
It's
love
like magical. I get chills right now. I would think of it.
it. It is magical. That's a great word for it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So there was a synchronicity happening the whole time, which made it what not made it real, it was real in present time. It was more real, I would say, than really any other life experience I can think of. Just the quality and the purity of what was happening was so profound and so beautiful and so pure.
Thank you. It really is. You said that so beautifully, and it's hard to describe those kind of words and explain that to, other people, to say what is really happening here in these sessions, because, I'm removing myself as my humanness and allowing God to use me as his instrument. And it is profound,
Yes.
even for me, because afterwards I'm like, whoa, what just transpired here? And I'm filled with gratitude. So as much as you are, I am too. And you hear me. There's times I'm crying on that recording as well.
Absolutely. I can tell too that it's from your side, absolutely real, present time. I'm feeling and experiencing certain emotions, physical things, and you right there are lockstep in terms of what's happening on your end of it, whether it's, we did a lot of excavating, shall I say. There was a lot of removal of
Mhm.
very old, deep set, just low density, limitation, fear, trauma, all of that stuff, which was, there was another word, begins with an E, it'll come to me, but it was excreted, maybe is a good word. I think,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
was.
And those are the things that are said that, I know nothing about you. So that this is coming directly from a higher being.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because that was another important point that I wanted to mention, was that I only gave you a short paragraph right before the healing of some physical issues that I had been having, nothing more than that. But you instantly jumped into the deepest origin points of what eventually created these physical symptoms.
Yeah, the root causes.
Yes.
And then we pulled those roots out.
Exactly.
And how did you feel as they were being pulled out? How do you feel after they were pulled out? Like, share that.
Okay, for sure. When I was listening to the recording, I didn't feel a physical sensation of something being pulled out per se, but I believe that was part of just the tears and the flow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. You're releasing. So
Yes.
they're pulling cords out and releasing that's usually what people will do, is they will shed, and you're crying and you're letting go, because you're letting a part of you go that you've held on to for so long. So now a piece of you is leaving, right? Yeah.
Yes. And as soon as you said that, you reminded me, talking about the energy flow and the vibration and the frequency aspect of it. It was the tears and my body. I have previously had a Kundalini awakening, and I'm familiar with kind of how it's a similar life force or process of your, it feels like it's beyond the cells even, but it feels like the cells are vibrating, and your whole body, it just, that intelligence knows what to do to remove it. And so that was the other thing besides the tears that I was experiencing, was this it was almost like a fine-tuned trembling. It was just energy moving through my body.
Interesting you say trembling, because a lot of times my body will tremble. And that's that frequency, that's that vibration. It's working within you. That's beautifully said. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Thank you. So that was the main thing. And then just the psychic connection of being connected with you and the words and all of that. And just this, oh, I feel it again. It's just this profound sense of gratitude.
Mhm. It's about, there's no other words to say, right? But we can all say we're grateful. I'm starting to burp as I'm feeling that energy coming through. But it's, to our core, we're grateful. Like it's like, grateful seems like such a simple word, but it's the only word to describe how much gratitude we have to God for what he did. And
Yes.
so how do you feel today?
Well, exactly. So after the recording, some of the highlights I could mention that happened were, I felt delicate afterwards, which I'm used to that too. I mean, anytime you go through something, and this was a massive something that's of this nature, you know, I feel like the body and all parts of the body are readjusting and finding their new ground, so to speak. And so about a week or so after the healing, I was definitely feeling really kind of open, expanded, delicate, which I knew what to do to, you know, kind of take care of that as it was can't say this word, sensitizing, integrating better and better, you know. But on a more spiritual level, and this means so much to me, that I'm able now to just within a moment or two reconnect to an energy that it's a divine energy. It feels like a soft cloud or a cocoon that I can very quickly shift into, and that is with me. And it feels like home. It is home.
Wow. Yeah, it's like being wrapped and held in God's arms, that comfort, right? And that love and that safetyness.
Yes.
And protection. So especially with you being so sensitive, right? It's like, okay, if I feel this way and you go to that space, you feel safe and comforted where all of that kind of just depletes. And so I like how you said it took some time, but you knew what to do with that. And you honored yourself during that time. You allowed yourself to feel whatever you needed to feel and recognize it and learn with it and tune into it like your own way. And that says a lot, because some people just want it instantaneously, and it might happen. There were things that were happening instantaneously for you, but then there was things that you had to, how do you want to say, it's a new you had to come, like, adjust to this new you. It's like getting a new car, like all the bells and whistles, you got to go in and reprogram it and figure it out until you fully know the car, right? And that's kind of what was happening with you. It's like, okay, now I have this, and now I have to figure out how I work with this new program.
Exactly. Just that adjustment period. And I will note that internally, physically, I have felt much more lighter, more expanded, more harmonious, more just everything flows easier.
Yes.
The sense of openness, expandedness, clarity, receptivity. And it makes sense when you think about anything. If you say if you had whatever and you poured tar into it, that is going to really affect the density or the mobility, et cetera, of something. And you again take away that heavy, sticky ickiness, and you're open to so much more of who you essentially are.
Right. It's like taking the blockages out.
Yes.
And then everything flows within you. And I like how you said, you just feel more free and more open, your heart's expanded. And what that really is you connected to your true self. And now you're loving yourself for who you are, instead of carrying all that baggage, that trauma, that things that were blocking that, and said, okay, that's not serving me. I will release this. God's ready to take this from me. And now you're free from it, and being free from it, everything does flow so much easier because we let go. And we now you trust the process with everything, instead of putting limitations on it. You're like, okay, I get this. I get how this works.
Yes, yes, yes. And I just thought about three things when you were talking there. There's a lot coming in. You mentioned too, if any fear, any residue still comes up, anything that I'm not sure of, just hand it to God, like hand it over and let that be that way. And I've been doing that, which is a really wonderful shift, because I've always thought, I've got to figure it out. I've been really dedicated, but sometimes I think I don't know, that's the only way I knew, was to intellectually or willfully try to make something happen. But this is a completely different approach and way of being, emphasis on being versus doing, right? And that
Right.
being, we're handing that over to God and the divine, and to be partners with that
And
situation.
that's such an important key here, because when we kind of control things, we limit it. But
Yeah.
when we let it go, like you said, it expands, and it's so much more that can come to us if we just are willing to trust.
Yes.
Right?
Trust.
And if we don't, and we do start to analyze everything, that spirals us,
Yes.
and then we're stuck in thinking all the what ifs. I mean, it can go on for a long time. So it is a good thing to do is once you recognize it, and we still walk through it. I mean, we still have to walk through it, but you recognize it and you're walking through it in a different way. You're not
Yes.
walking through it as controlling and wanting the outcome being your way. You're releasing it and saying, okay, God, whatever the outcome is, I trust that that's how it's meant to be.
Yes, absolutely. And the faith and the trust in that is just coming so much easier and more automatically for me. And to that, I wanted to also mention something. You mentioned at one point during the healing about seeing a white dove, and
Oh,
and that it felt like I was going to soar, like take off.
soaring. Yes, I did. I remember that. Oh, I got chills with that. Yes, yes,
I did too.
yes.
And then you also mentioned writing a book twice, which was something I had been thinking about on and off for a few years, and felt like it would happen in the future, but I was still deliberating. But when you said that, it was just that aligned to me with such clarity on my next steps, coupled with the dove. I mean, these were the book was literal, but the dove was symbolic in terms of moments or explanations of me personally on my path. And to hear those things coupled with everything else was so, so important. And it has given me just the green light since our healing to be able to act on these things and get things moving. And I can feel in my life with my energy that in general, things are at a new level. They're moving with more grace and ease. It's another higher frequency to everything. So yeah, I mean, this is just, yeah, wow.
It's like you're attracting it so much quicker, right? Because you think it and then it's there. But I do remember the book and I do remember the dove, and it was so profound when that was said. And it's like, here's your purpose, and here you're thinking of it. And now at the end, I think it was towards the end, after you felt a lot of it, of things that were going on in your body, now you've accepted, that what's going on is real. And so now to hear these words, it's like, okay, she's not just tapping into me, I'm hearing that this is something I need to do. And so getting that little like nugget, that golden nugget saying, yes, you need to do this, now it becomes something that is a knowingness and a strong will, where before it was like, okay, I feel it, but now it's like, I know it.
Exactly.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for you to write it.
Thank you. Well, steps are falling into place for that to happen as we speak. So yes, it's really happening now. And that is, I'm so profoundly grateful for that in itself, everything. But I've been waiting for this for a long time. And I know that this has been able to unfold the way it has.
It shifted your life, like it shifted everything, right? It got you right back on path. But shifts in a good way.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we were taking out old stuff, and now you're renewed, restored, and here you go. Watch out.
I know. It's really something to witness. I mean, I'm feeling it deeply inside, and I'm also watching it from another level, and just the beauty. I've thought several times, it's like a rarefied and beautiful unfoldment that I'm in the midst of.
Oh, I love that. And I think you're looking at energy in a different way too, because you are a gift. And to feel that energy now is like, oh, this is a gift. I'm feeling it. They're validating this to me. I'm feeling this energy. And then when we are sensitive, for anybody else that's out there that's sensitive, you learn how to put a shield around yourself so that you don't become sensitive or take on other people's energy. As soon as you know that you are, like you said, you release it. So I love how God gave you that so that you have that balance now for you.
Thank you. And I do appreciate you giving me tips about the God shield going up and the salt, and how to, if I do feel disrupted, how to take care of that. Because not only for me, but more and more people are embarking on this path and moving forward. I mean, as a humanity, this is where we're headed. So these tools and tips and things are going to be important for many people, I think, in the future.
It's amazing you say that, because not always does things come like that through a session, but I know that whoever's ready for it, those things will come. And not everybody's ready, right? So it's like, I just trust the words come through, and those were the words that you needed to hear. So I'm really happy.
So since that healing, sort of to capsulize a lot of what I'm saying here, I could put it in the way of my relationship with the divine has become much more intimate, much more accessible, much more profound, much more cohesive. It's like just present and with me. And it doesn't take much just to really, it's with me no matter what. But then if I focus a little bit further, I'm really in that embrace, that cloud. And that is, wow, that's pretty incredible.
And we talked about too, your energy levels. You didn't have much energy before, and now you seem to have lots of energy.
Yes. Yes, and I feel it as we're talking. It's just free flowing. Yes, so as I was mentioning before, we all go through chrysalis stages between caterpillar and butterfly. That's a part of our human evolution. However, and I have definitely felt like I've been in this chrysalis stage for, gosh, almost a decade. I mean, it's been a long going thing. However, a particular thing with my chrysalis stage has been just that I've been had a lack of energy. I felt limited. I felt restricted. I have felt, no matter how much my mind or my will or my heart wanted something to manifest or unfold, no matter how many good intentions I had, I just didn't have the access to the fuel or the energy or the animation within myself to be able to, say, light a fire under these things and make them start to happen. I just couldn't. I was constantly banging my head on a glass ceiling is what it felt like. But after the healing, it's like a dam that is broken open, and that energy flow. And even as I'm saying this, I feel it flowing like from
I
above
felt it
my
too.
body. Yes. And that's how quickly, as you can see just then, how quickly I can tap into that and experience that now.
And did you witness? We both felt it at the same time.
Yes, I
So
love
that was cool. We're both on the screen. I'm going like this, and you're like,
no.
that
Yeah,
it's beautiful and beautifully said. And I'm so happy for all these shifts and transformations that have happened for you. And I can't thank you enough for sharing them.
you're very welcome. Thanks for the opportunity to share it. And I'm just happy to do anything I can help spread this word and this message for people out there.
Well, I really appreciate it. And maybe someday soon we'll meet in person, because I'd love to give you an in-person hug.
I'll take it. I love
Thank you for listening. And thank you, Shae, for everything that you shared with everybody, because this is going to help so many know how to step into their own healing, and that it can be a process. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and bye for now.